Hey everyone, my name's Wong and I'm a member of the Wizards of Boom Caves Commander Group. Today I just wanted to do a quick deck tech on my favorite commander from my group of commanders, and that's Pantlaza Sun Favored. So he's a 5 cost, 2 colorless commander that says whenever Pantlaza Sun Favored or another dinosaur enters the battlefield under your control, you may discover X, where X is that creature's toughness. Do this only once each per turn. So what does this mean? So if I play Pantlaza onto the battlefield, he's going to discover X, where X is his toughness. So say he comes out, say I happen to get him out and he not be countered, he will come out and I'll start flipping cards from the top of my deck until I hit something with either 4 or less mana value. When I reveal it, I can either put it onto the battlefield, play it, or I can put it into my hand. So let's go ahead and get into this deck list. So, Marauding Raptor, a dinosaur, obviously. What does he do? He's a 2 cost. He says, creature spells you cost 1 less to cast. But his main ability is whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, he does 2 damage to it. If a dinosaur was dealt damage this way, he gets +2, +0 until end of turn. So he may not seem that good. You may be like, oh, why do I want something doing damage to my creatures? Keep this in mind until we get to one more dinosaur. He is part of a piece to infinite combo. So just keep that in mind. So just for that, I'll put him out here to the side for now. We're in green. We're going to need a ramp. If you're not ramping in green, then what are you doing? So obviously I have a rampant growth in my deck. What does it do? It's just you play it, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tapped and shuffle. Easy. Stomping Ground. Just your basic shock land. It can either be classified as red or green. It taps for either or, and you can search it if you have fetch lands. And I try and run a pretty good land base in Dinosaur because things get expensive. Dinos are expensive. Pantlaza is going to probably get killed once or twice in each game. But, oh, here's a big one. This is a killer in the deck. Geshath Sun's Avatar. So he's a legendary creature with vigilance, trample, and haste. So he can attack the turn he comes out. He says, when he deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. So what that means is his power 7. If you do 7 damage to someone, you reveal 7 cards from the top of your library. After that, it says, put any number of dinosaur creatures cards from among them onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. And I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all with this, he's a kill on sight creature. If you have any kind of protection for him, use it. But at the same time, I've had Geshath triggers where I've maybe got 1 dinosaur, sometimes 0. But at the same time, I've also had triggers where I've dropped 5 dinosaurs and it's game over the next turn. So he is a killer in this deck. Tyrannix Rex. Oh, this is another good one. He's a 7 cost, 8/8. That can't be countered with Trample, Toxic 4, Ward 4, and Haste. So he can immediately swing on the turn he comes down, and if he does damage, that player gets 4 Toxic, which is huge. So he's another just big late game piece. Dinosaurs on a spaceship. This is one of the more new additions to my deck. I didn't have it in for a while. I never knew why, but he has Vigilance and Trample, but he's a 6 cost, 7/7. He gets other dinosaurs you control, +1/+1, and they get Vigilance and Trample. So what does Vigilance mean? It basically means that whenever you swing, so say I declare him as an attacker, most of the time, if they don't have Vigilance, they will tap. But with Vigilance and Trample, when they go to attack, they stay like this so that you can have a blocker for next turns. And with Trample, if someone declares a blocker, excess damage will get through onto the player. So this is another key piece into game-winning scenarios with dinos. Bone Horde Brachiosaur. Now this is just value jackpot. He's a 5 cost, 5/5, flying first strike, which I don't have many flyers in this deck, but it says at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. If you exile a land this way, create a 3/1 dinosaur creature token. If you exile a non-land, create a treasure. So this would happen at the beginning of your upkeep. So before draw, you get to exile 2 cards. Say you exile 2 non-lands, you get 2 treasures. Say you exile 2 lanes, you get 2 3/1s. It's value central again. It's such a great piece, and it's 5 cost, so it's on the cheaper end of most dinosaurs. your basic plains, mountain, lightning greaves. I try and keep these mainly for protection for Pantlaza so he can't be targeted. A staple in every commander deck. The Great Hinge. So this is a non-cost artifact that will essentially be only a 2 cost, basically 2 free mana, because you're going to play it for most of the time just 2 green, because there's a lot of 7 powered creatures in my deck. So it is like a $60-$78 card, but you play it, you might have to use a 2 green, but you automatically get 2 free green when you play it. So it's essentially free, and you get to gain 2 life every time you tap it. And when a non-token creature enters, you get to put a +1/+1 on it and draw a card. So it's just great overall. Zakama, ooh. Some of my buddies in this group of mine hate to see this coming out. Because if I cast it from my hand, or just cast it in general, not necessarily from my hand, but if I cast it, I get to untap all lands I control. So essentially, if you have 9 lands, which a lot of the times that's not hard to come by in dinosaurs, you're basically getting a free dinosaur. And if you have Pantlaza, it's a non-cost trigger. So almost anything you flip in this deck, whatever you flip, you're most likely going to be able to play. So he's a beast overall. Another Canopy Vista, just another land, forest, deflect and swat. This one is a proxy. I'm going to try and get a different art, but it's just another piece of protection / interaction. If I control my commander, I can cast it without playing its mana cost. I can change new targets for target spell or ability. So if somebody goes to cast a Swords on the Pantlaza, I can deflect and swat it to the Caesar across the board, essentially. This is a crazy card. I'll go ahead and tell you why. It says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature with power greater than 4. Pantlaza's 4. I know you're going to be thinking, why would I want to sacrifice my commander? He's 5 costs. You can get him back with 7 next turn. But when you do that, it says search a library for a dinosaur creature card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. It gains indestructible until end of turn. I'll give you 2 creatures I go and get most of the time. Geshath, or we haven't seen it yet, but there's a dinosaur in here that fights when it does damage and when it enters, but he has indestructible, so it doesn't kill him. So it's essentially a pseudo board wipe. So this card, killer in this deck. Cultivate, another piece of ramp. You probably know what it does. Another shock land. Look at that. Another piece of ramp. Let me go ahead and get this neat for y'all. Plains, another land. Ripjaw Raptor. I'll tell you why this is good. You essentially play Pantlaza. If you have this in your hand, it's only a 4 cost, but you get a trigger of 5 because of its toughness. So you open a door to more possibilities of things you can flip and play. And it says whenever it's dealt damage, draw a card. So there's just more card draw. You can never go wrong with more card draw in decks. Unclaimed Territory, Contest of Claws. This is a good one. It's a sorcery, so you can only play it on your main phase, 1 or 2, or if you have ways to get flash, which I don't in this deck. But it says target creature you control deals damage to target equal to its power to another target creature. If excess damage was dealt, discover X. So say I do 4 damage to a 4-1, 3. That's your excess damage. You would discover for 3. So that's basically how you play that card. Rhythm of the Wild. It came with the pre-con. I took it out. I put it back in. It's just so good for 3 mana. Creature spells you control can't be countered. Man, there's nothing but creatures in this deck. And it says non-creatures you control have riot, so they can either enter with haste or 1/1, which is such a good 1 or 2. You can't go wrong with either. Roman Throne. I know Pantlaza says you can only do this once each turn, but with Roman Throne, letting it trigger additional time. If this stays on the board with all these dinosaur triggers, it can get nasty real quick. Path of Ancestry, Earthshaker Dreadmaw. Man, when I hit this off of Geshath, it goes crazy because it says when it enters the battlefield, draw a card for each other dinosaur you control. Most likely when this comes out, you have at least 5 other dinosaurs on the field besides him. So he's just great card draws, cost, trample, can't go wrong. Sacred Foundry, Etali. 1 of 2 Italis in this deck. When he attacks, exile the top card of each player's library. You may cast them from among those cards without paying their mana costs. So if he sticks around or if you give him haste, man, he can steal some people's decks. You start playing off of other people's decks, it gets real fun. Secluded Courtyard, Zeltapa. A lot of people don't run him, but he came with a pre-con. I like him. He is expensive, but look at just all those keywords. Flying, Double Strike, Vigilance, Trample, Indestructible. He's great. I like him. Big body, late game, great. Now here's a dinosaur I know a lot of people don't like to see either. Bronzeport Forgers. When it enters, for each opponent, exile up to one non-land permanent that player controls until this leaves. So if there's a problem on the board, I'll play this. It's a 4 cost 3/4, so it's cheap. And I can just deal with something until this gets taken out. Balin's Tomb or Ancient Tomb. I know it deals 2 damage to you, but that extra mana on tap is awesome with some of these dinosaurs. Netherland, Plains, Jurassic Park Plains, Fallout, Surge Foil, Sunpetal Grove, Scalding Tarn, Jungle Shrine. I'm eventually going to replace this with Jetmir's Garden. This is a game changer too for me in this deck. Raffle Raptors, it says when a dinosaur you control is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target. So that means I can do it to somebody's face. So say somebody swings a 10-10 at this guy. He takes 10 damage, but then I can do 10 damage to something else that's not a dinosaur. So it's usually a protection from people swinging at me because they know, oh, if I block with something, I'll just do the damage most likely right back to their face or to a creature. This is a proxy of Prismatic Vista. I know, I need to get a new one. Multiversal Passage, probably my favorite card from Spider-Man. I love the art, it's sick. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. Ramp and a dinosaur. Ain't that crazy? And it's pretty good value. 3 costs for 4 power 4/4, triggers for 4 out for Pantlaza. It says when it enters, search your library for a basic land card put onto the battlefield tapped. But he can't attack or block until you control 7 or more lands, which won't take long in this deck. This is another beater. Galta and Maverin. He is a 7 cost, or 6, no, 7 cost, I apologize. Trample, whenever you attack, choose one, create a tapped X green dinosaur creature where X is the greatest power, or create X 1/1 vampire creature tokens with lifelink where X is the number of attacking creatures. Most likely, I always go for the top. If I attack with this guy, I make another 12. And if I haven't played a dinosaur that turn, that's a 12x trigger from Pantlaza. Awesome value. Hulk and Raptor. I'll tell you why this guy's good. He might only have 3 toughness for the Pantlaza trigger, but at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add 2 grain. That 2 grain goes a long way. And he has Ward 2. Spectator Scene, another land. Mirari's Wake. We have a lot of... I'll tell you why this enchantment is so good. Giving your creatures ++1 is sick, but when I tap a land for mana, add 1 mana of any type that land produced. So say I tap a plane, I get 1 more land from it because of this. It's a 5 cost, but it's going to make up, say you have 10 mana at the time, or 5 mana at the time you drop it, next turn you have essentially 10. Swords to Plowshare goes in every commander deck. Achroma's Will. Ooh. Usually when I play this, it's to end games. Choose one. Achroma's Will. Usually I'm going to be having my commander so I can choose both, which entitles you to your creatures gain flying, vigilance, double strike, lifelink, indestructible, and protection from all colors. What does protection from all colors mean? That means that your creatures are basically unblockable. And with double strikes, or say you have 20 amount of power out there, you're essentially doing 40. And lifelink, if you don't win with this card at the end of the game, you're probably going to be in at least a 1v1 with plenty of life that will lead you to the win. Quartz Woodcrasher, basically a big dino piece. A lot of my dinos have trample, and it says when something deals combat damage with trample, create an XX where X is the amount of trample damage dealt. And it's a dinosaur. Command Tower, cool creature, or cool art, I mean. Mountain and Temple Altasaur. Says, if a source would deal damage to another dinosaur you control, prevent all of that damage but 1. Exili's Lore Keeper, just a 1-drop, 1/1 that is a mana dork for only dinosaur spells. This is value central. A 5 cost, that's an 8/8. I mainly put this in just to get a crazy good shot trigger. Big body, 5/5, or 5 cost, 8/8. Great. Smother and Tithe. A lot of expensive dinos in this. So to get the treasures is awesome. Regisaur Alpha. It gives other dinos haste. He's a 5 cost 4/4, but when it enters, you get a 3/3 dinosaur creature token to trample. So you really do get a lot of it out of the 5 cost. My friends hate to see this one. Creatures you control enter the battlefield tapped. Or your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. So if I'm playing like a token deck, their tokens just enter tapped. Another ramp spell. Tranquil for a Brack. When it enters, I can pay 1 green up to 3 times, and then I can choose from these 3 right here. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, exile target player's left or graveyard, you gain 4 life. If I have 3 extra, I can either choose all 3 or one of them 3 times. Land, Cavern of Souls, uncounterable with Dinos, that's great. Monster Manual. I usually pay it for the artifact side, 4 cost, but next turn, or even that turn if I have enough mana, I can tap it by paying 2, one of them being a green, to put a creature from my hand onto the battlefield. Heroic Intervention, great protection. I mean, things you control get hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Rampage Brontonon, when it attacks, it gets +1/+1 for each land you control. It's at least going to be +7/+7 most of the time, and it's going to be a 14/14 with trample. Galta Primal Hunger, most of the time going to be costing 2 for a 10 or 12/12 with trample. It's crazy. Growing Right to Itlamok, when it enters, look at the top 4, I can reveal a creature card from them, and at the end step, if I have 4 more creatures, transform it, and it's basically Gaia's Cradle on the back of it. Now this, see how Pantlaza says do it only once each turn. So if Pantlaza is out, I can play this on my opponent's turn, ephemerate it, get a Pantlaza trigger for 4 on someone else's turn, and with Rebound, I can cast it at the beginning of my upkeep without paying its mana cost. So it's pretty good value for a 1/1, or 1 cost. Flooded Strand, fetch land for plains. Forest, plains, this one's crazy. Another Galta, 8 cost, 12/12. When it enters, I can put any number of creature cards from my hand onto the battlefield, so you can essentially just dump your hand. This was the card I was talking about with the that tutor earlier. It's a non-cost, but with that other, when you sacrifice a creature, I can go get it for free. When it enters, it fights something, but when it is dealt damage, it fights something else. So it's just a loop until he either dies or kills everything with indestructible. City of Brass, here it is. These 2, you play this card. Then you have the mana to play this card next turn. When he enters, this deals damage to this. And why is this great? It says when it's dealt damage, create a token of this. So this will enter, it deals damage. The token will enter, it deals damage. That token will enter, it deals damage. Infinitely making you tokens of a 5/5. Great piece. Forest, kind of a mana dork. I mean, he just makes things 1 less to cast, and it can give a dinosaur haste until end of turn if it doesn't have it. This one's crazy too. When it enters, if I cast it from my hand, destroy all non-dinosaur creature tokens. Or creatures. I'm sorry. It is an 8/8, 7/7, but kind of like a pseudo board wipe. Mountain Down, I got it from Magicon. Rogue's Passage, Forest, Soul Ring, of course. This guy, Kogla Nidaru. 6 cost, 7/7. When it enters, it can either fight something or it gains trample and haste. Or I could discard it and destroy a target artifact and enchantment. The other Itali, the better Itali. When he enters, exile each card from the top of their library until you hit a non-land. I can cast any of those without paying the mana cost. Great card. Arcane, Teferis. You know what Teferis does. Bloodstained Mire. Welcome to a pretty good saga. Path to Exile, another interaction. Werewolf Swordtooth. Let's see. I can play additional lands. Pretty good. Urza's Incubator makes things 2 less. Curious Allosaur, when the dinosaur deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, more card draw. When this attacks another target dinosaur you control gains flying. So if I have Gashath out there, I'll attack with this, give Gashath flying. Easy 7 if they don't have reach. Grook Uprising, card draw, gives everything trample. This is pretty good. It's a flying that says when this or another flying creature enters under your control, gain target creature an opponent controls until end of turn, untap it, it gains flying and haste. So I can gain control, attack with it, and then when I'm done, I drop it for 3 damage. Pretty cool. This is a new pickup. Devour 3, so when it enters, I can sacrifice up to 3 creatures. Each creature sacrifice is 3 +1/+1s. When it attacks, it deals damage equal to its power to one other target creature. Excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. So kind of trample in a way without actually having to do combat damage. This one's great because it's a 3 cost, 6/6. So it's great for Pantlaza. I drop it after Pantlaza. It gets a 6 cost trigger. and forest. But yeah, that's my deck for Pantlaza. I hope you guys enjoyed. A little bit of a long video. It's my first video filmed for the channel. I'll definitely get better in the future. I really hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys enjoy our group's content. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope you all have a great day. Peace.